got you. I got you.
Absolutely.
Got you. Good afternoon, everybody. Come on in. Come on in. Welcome to Wife After Prison. I'm so excited about the live today. We're just going to be having a conversation with Mr. Anthony Colon and
Colon.
Coleon. Yeah, I was going to ask you.
Yes, Colon. It's cologne, like the perfume, like the cologne.
Cologne.
Accent of hers.
Cologne. I didn't call you a whole colon.
I tell people all the time, I used to be an ass.
Oh, cologne. Okay, thank you. I was going to ask you about that. And
No
Mr.
problem.
Eric Benson, again, thank you so much. Wife After Prison. Wife After Prison was founded in 2018 to raise awareness of post-incarceration syndrome. And what post-incarceration syndrome is, it's a set of symptoms and behaviors that those who are either in prison or have been released from prison, it's a set of symptoms and challenges that they have. I mean, they experience. It has to do with psychological distress. It has to do with social reintegration. It has to do with behavior patterns. It has to do with cognitive impairment. So this is what we talk about on this platform. And I had the pleasure a couple of weeks ago of being interviewed on Anthony and Eric's platform, and I enjoyed it so much. I was like, we got to do this again. Y'all need to come over to my house. So this is what the conversation is about today. And one thing about this, when I first gained knowledge of post-incarceration syndrome with my friend who I was once married to, when his behavior just started to change on me and I didn't understand. Kevin did 28 years in prison and I didn't understand why had this man changed on me. And I said he changed abruptly, but he was changing internally and I didn't see that. All that stuff, he was dealing with all this stuff on the inside. But all of a sudden, it came to a head. He was dealing with the pre-incarceration trauma. He was dealing with incarceration trauma. And then you come out to a whole wife.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, you come out to a whole alpha wife, right? And so, it caused Kevin and I to go through some very, very dark times. And ultimately, we ended up getting divorced. But again, he is my friend who I was once married to. So we still do this work together. But this is a real topic, and I was very, very irritated because I was like, ain't nobody talking about this. Ain't nobody talking about the mental state of our loved ones who are coming home. Nobody having this conversation.
Nope.
Man, let me tell you something. It landed in the right household. I tell you that.
I know that's right.
So, it landed in the right household. And so this is when I started Wife After Prison, even having to write the book. But we're going to get into that. But my thing today is just to chop it up with these brothers. Success after lockdown. Now, I'm going to tell y'all this. I was thinking about this morning. There's, someone asked me this week, it's a wife. She was like, is there any success stories? Because she's hearing about the, same behavior, different zip code, same behavior, different country. So she asked that question. And I said, yeah, there is some successful stories. There is. And there's a lot of light being shined on that. And why I applaud that. My heart aches sometimes for those who have come out and they're struggling. And nobody is telling their stories.
Absolutely.
Right? Yeah. So that's where I come in. I'm going to tell their story and my story and everybody else's story. But I selected you guys because I felt your heart. I see your passion, right? And I think when I'm looking for individuals to speak, I look for individuals who are honest about this thing and who are transparent about the struggle, not only the success. While we applaud that, we still need to talk about the struggle so that we can help those who have not yet gotten to the point, into the space, into the seat where you guys are. So we have to navigate that, and so that they can get to where you are. So I'm going to shut my mouth. without further ado,
You started
yeah,
this.
I'm gonna shut my mouth and just let Anthony and Eric, if you guys don't mind, just tell us where you're located. You know how much time you did, and how long you've been out. And then I have some other questions about all that other stuff. So you guys go ahead. Yeah, you guys go ahead and jump in.
This is BX. This is BX. We
The
from the
Bronx.
Bronx.
BX is the Bronx.
That's
That's
okay.
the Bronx.
Born and raised in the Bronx, New York City. We was raised together on the same block, Anthony and I know I can speak for that. And you know, we got in the streets together. You know, there's a little conflict or a debate that, you know, I brought Mr. Cologne to the streets or he brought me, but we're not gonna get into that. We were in the streets, you know, we were in deep. You know, it was an experience for us that, you know, that where we learn from our mistakes. I remember my grandmother, she used to say, you know, you're gonna learn the hard way. You know, you're gonna either be 6 feet under or you're gonna be in that prison.
Wow.
And I wound up being in that prison for 27 years and 6 months for taking a young man's life, just like myself, you know, that didn't deserve to die. You know, that was my state of mind back then, was caught up in this street life, that, you know, I just thought that, you know, everything was peachy, and we go out there and we sell drugs to the community, and we, you know, kill off, you know, all the people in our community. Back then I didn't have a thought pattern in terms of a growth and development pattern in my psyche. You know, I just you know, I was a follower. I followed the times, you know, followed the times and where we were at, you know, growing up in the Bronx. Today I think we create, I know we created this platform just like you created yours, to find people that's genuine, that's honest, that's into nothing but positivity. We have no room on Success After Lockdown for negativity. We have no room for that. You know, so we target and find those men and women that's formerly incarcerated, that's home, staying home, and giving back to the community in a positive way. There's those of us that come home and we go back, you know, and that's just the facts and the reality of this, that some people learn faster than others. Some people get it faster than others. You know, some people they'll never get it. They go into the grave without getting it. That's the reality too, that we cannot shake. It is what it is. So you know, we here to bring this platform to light and to show society that, you know, that everybody is not coming home and going back, because society has this perception that, you know, if you've been to jail, you're going right back. And to a degree, you know, they have some truth to that, you know, with some of us. However, we here to highlight those that's not. And I think that when you look at it across the board, whether we in New York or Houston or Utah, you know, I think individuals like myself and Anthony and others, men and women that's in their state, you know, that was formerly incarcerated, that's home and giving back to the community, I think we bring that recidivism rate down.
Right.
You know,
so let me.
Yes.
Yeah. So let me ask you this. So what age did you guys get in the streets? What age?
10, 11.
10 and 11? Yeah.
Yeah, 10 and 11, started really swinging in the street. For me, I was about 12 years old when I was like really fully committed to the streets.
Yeah, me as well.
Yeah.
Were you still in school?
I never finished school. I got my education in prison, as Eric had. I grew up in a broken home. That, you know, I don't know how my mother and my grandmother did it, but they were the only two females in my family that didn't do drugs or anything like that. You know, I'm talking about, I grew up in a broken down house with my grandmother, my grandfather, my sister, my 3 brothers, my mom, my father that raised me. And as time went by, my mom's always had like an open door policy. So like whoever needed help or needed a place to stay, you was welcome. Come on over this way. And it became very overpopulated. All my brothers, my sisters was on drugs. My grandfather, my uncle were on drugs and alcohol. Wow. So literally for me being the youngest one, I was never really enticed by getting high. I was more about wanting to buy the nice stuff and make my own money. And at a young age, I found that the only way to do that was to go to the neighborhood around the corner, ask the older guys, hey, you want me to hold on to your drugs for a pair of sneakers, for this or that, because my mother couldn't afford it. Right. But it was almost like a battlefield. Me and my uncle literally used to fist fight just about every other day. And there's a guy that was in Vietnam War, right? But when he got drunk, to me, I was like his little target, right? And like at 12 years old, I moved out of my house.
At 12?
At 12, I moved out of my house and moved in with my local drug dealer. Because it was almost insane for me to like, I would go buy a nice little outfit. Right? Like I remember one time I went and bought this nice little outfit. I must have been like 12 years old, 12 and a half years old. And I woke up literally with just in my underwear and my clothes was gone. My sneakers was gone. And I wake up and I'm running around the house and I'm looking for it. And I come outside to the front porch and like my uncle, my grandfather, my brother, they all there like beat me up, Scotty, was just like,
wow.
And yeah. Wow. And so like that was the last straw for me. And so when I had an opportunity to run out, that's what I did, right? I was finding love and acceptance and some guidance, even though, the older guys in the block wasn't positive, to me they was, because they embraced me, right? Yeah. They sheltered me. They protected me. I felt a sense of belonging.
So do you think they were grooming you?
I don't think that they was grooming me. I think that I think we was all we had. Like in the neighborhood, we was all we had. Like my neighborhood.
Under the circumstances.
Yeah, like under the circumstances, yeah, we was like all we had. Like, we'll meet on the corner and we wouldn't let no one come into that atmosphere and violate anyone. So for me, like not fighting against my own people was a big difference from what I was waking up to at home.
Oh, wow.
So I felt protection from the people on the block as opposed to from my own household. So for me, it was a no-brainer.
So let me ask you this, guys. Who went to prison first?
I think we were like both going in and out, but Eric.
So how many bids did you do?
I did a total of 4.
4 short stints, and then the.
Yes. So I went into juvenile. I went to juvie when I was around 13, from like 13 to 17. I went away for a 1-year sentence, but I had a propensity of always fighting. Like I just always loved to fight. Came home and got right back into it, right back into the drug game, and then did my second bid, which was like what we call the skid bid. Went in for 1 to 3, came out, nothing changed. I was just like, whatever. Came back out, caught my third bid, which was a 3 to 9. While in prison, I decided to continue to fight, cut people, stab people. So I kept getting new charges while in prison. I wound up doing 10 years out of a 3 to 9. And then it was like, okay. And then moved out to Philadelphia. Nobody wanted me back in New York, so I moved out to Philadelphia. Philadelphia, what I learned about me is that wherever I went, I always took me with me. And as much as I always wanted to change, although I always try to educate myself a little more, One that came out a little bit smarter, but still with the same mentality. I got to provide. I got to get new clothes. I have to get the jewelry. I have to, I have to get it. I have to get it fast. I had to play catch up.
Yeah.
And that's what happened. And then I moved down to Florida, where I came down here for recovery. After being home from doing the 10 years, I was home maybe 3 years. But I already caught a violation in Philadelphia. My parole officer, shout out to Mr. Mason in Philly, because like he was one probation officer that literally cared. Like he pulled me to the side one day and said, Anthony, like, I don't know why you're not grabbing. Like, you have such potential. He said, you have such amazing potentials when you want to apply it. He's like, I'm going to cut you loose early on your parole, but I need you to get out this state. Go get some help and do something and follow your dreams. I moved down to Florida. And again, in Florida, came down here for recovery, started working and got into white collar crime, and then went away for 5 years. I've been home now going on six years. In October be 6 years. And since this last time is when it resonated with me.
Yeah.
It really resonated with me. And it was just like, what's going to change, Anthony? Who are you?
Yeah.
What do you want out of life? Right? And changing that mindset. And I started working in prison to educate myself more. I did every program that I can do to educate myself on money management, on etiquette, on criminology, on thought process, on, identifying who I truly am as a man, on what is it that I can bring to this world, and, what I have to offer. And
okay, hold on for me. Hold down. Because I'm going in segments. You're going into incarceration. I got in segments. We didn't talk about the pre-incarceration.
Yeah.
I get that. I get that. You went through a lot. Right? And let me ask this. Then I'm coming for you, Eric, because I always ask individuals when they go to prison. I ask them, what did you have to do to survive prison? Sound like you was already that guy when you went in, like, I ain't to be bothered with, don't play with me. Because some of them say, I had to become something. Sound like you was already that something.
I was. So I grew up, when I was a little kid, they nicknamed me Scarface. That was my name in the street. It was Scarface. And, for a while, it was like a badge of honor to have such a name. But as in prison, when you have a name like Scarface, you have to live up to that moniker, right? People want to know why your name's Scarface. Are you really Al Pacino in the movie? Are you really about that life? So for me, it was like what was started out as a nickname became a lifestyle for me. And I literally had to live up to that name. So I was zero tolerance for any type of disrespect. The minute somebody started to go left, I didn't even let them make the signal turned on left. I was on go. It didn't matter how big you was, who you was with, what gang you was with, what nationality you was, Puerto Rican, black, white. It make me no different. One thing about me, let's just go, right?
Wow. Hold on, man. Let me tell you something. We need a whole series with this conversation.
Yeah, we do. Because
we need a whole series with this thing right here. But this is the deal. To my family members who are out there, let me tell you something. This is all about exposure. Once we get exposed to something, we cannot be unexposed. Right?
Absolutely.
Because there's a lot of family members, and trust me, I ain't knocking met in prison, married in prison. I ain't knocking none of that, right? But my thing is this: do you even know what your boo then been through? Right? Do you even know? Because sometimes, they don't know the history.
Yeah, and we don't tell it. A lot of times we don't tell it because we still going through the trauma and within ourselves, and not understanding ourselves and learning ourselves to be able to express that to our significant other.
Right. So let me. So were you guys ever in the same prison together?
No.
Never.
It's funny you just mentioned that. Just to go back on that, when I was doing my 3 to 9 bid, my son's mother, again, I had an opportunity to come home within 3 years minimum sentence, right? And I chose to continue to live up to this moniker. And I remember after, I think 5 or 6.5 years, they brought me back down from upstate back to Rikers Island on a new case. And my son's mother came to visit me. And she was very cold, like standoffish. And I was like, what's wrong? And she asked me a question that it resonated with me years later. Uh, and she was like, when are you planning to come home? And I remember looking at her and I said, well, when they let me out. She said, no, you don't understand. I agreed to stand by you. But every time I turn around, I'm getting a letter from you while you're in the shoe. You want to continue to be a gang member. You want to continue to be this tough guy. But the one who's suffering is me and your son. See, you expect me to continue to keep coming up here every other week. You expect me to keep bringing your son up here to see you, but then I have to go through the trauma while you in solitary confinement. I have to go through the extra BS layer of security because of where you're at while in prison. And my question to you is, when are you going to stop your BS, do your time, and come home? And I literally remember looking at her and said, what do you want me to do? Be a sucker? And she looked at me and she said, no, I want you to be a fucking man. I want you to
Talk
man
about it,
up.
Mama.
She said, she's like, listen, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think you get it. And for that reason, remember, I used to always tell you one day I'm going to get fed up. That day is today. I will make sure you see your son. I will make sure that you have money on your books. But I have to live my life. And unfortunately, it's not going to be with you. And like it hit me later on when I got back to the cell. And I'm saying to myself, nah, she ain't serious. She, you know who I am? She ain't going nowhere. And she stuck to her gun. And it resonated with me later, like, wow, she really got fed up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
My stupidity and my behavior didn't only affect me, it affected her.
Absolutely.
In a way that I couldn't even comprehend.
That's
Absolutely, absolutely. And this is again why what this platform is, because I don't think that a lot of them on the inside understand that the trauma and the impact that it has on us. One lady told me, she said, Miss Sheila, I've sit down and I've counted every dime that I have given to the system since he's been locked up. She says it's over $60,000.
No, that's a fact. Especially
Yeah.
mothers,
Yeah.
especially mothers and wives. They sacrifice, and that's why I always say that if you find a man that's married in prison, like she's also doing that same time that you're doing, that we
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
She might not be, in there in that cell, but she's locked up outside out here because
Yeah.
and she has a lot more responsibilities on her shoulder than we do inside.
Yeah.
We sit back and wait for her to put money on the books.
Yeah.
We wait for that package to come.
Get mad at them when it don't happen fast enough.
Yeah. Yeah.
And don't understand. So I think I always said it starts with you first and foremost inside. The inside has shown me I begin to see those brothers that were like me grow up in there, and that show total disregard to their wife or to their loved one or to their mother or anyone that was taking care of them. Total disregard, because they living in this moment of just wanting now, wanting this, and taking advantage of people. Like I said, we always knew right from wrong. I think all of us, know right from wrong, and it's when do man up and say, I'm gonna take full accountability and responsibility for
So
your
Eric,
life.
So Eric, let me ask you this, because we briefly talked on that with this when I was on your show. So was it a specific time, a moment that you looked at yourself and you say, something got to happen? Anthony, what you just said is so powerful, so powerful, so powerful. Thank you for sharing that. But Eric, was it a specific aha moment? Like, man, look here, I can't.
Absolutely.
Yeah, tell me about that.
Absolutely. And I say this with all humility because I'm a bit unique um than the average person in prison. So for me, as soon as they put them cuffs on me and I went into that precinct and I went to in front of that judge, before I was even sentenced, I used to say to myself, I'm tired. I'm tired. And so I was facing this 25 years to life. And I was in this court and I was saying to myself, I'm tired. It was
Wow.
like a ton of bricks lifted from my shoulders when I got locked up. And I said, yo, man, I don't want to do this no more. It has to be a better way. And so my transition and my self introspection, I believe, started when I was locked up for this last time. I didn't share with you and your followers my short lifespan when I was a youth, coming out the house at 12 years old. First being arrested, actually going to jail at 15, doing 4 months, coming out, having probation, going back in, doing 1 year, 1 to 3, just like Anthony, coming home after a 1 to 3, 12 months, and receiving 25 years to life after the 1 to 3, going back into the streets, selling drugs for 3 years before getting locked up and not seeing the streets again until August 10th, 2020. When I went into prison, I didn't have my GED. I always tell this because I wanted to inspire those that's in there now, to doing better while you in there. I went in there without a GED and came home with my GED and my associates, my bachelor's and my master's degree. And so thank you. And so, when doing that, that was a transition that I was taking early in time. I say with all humility and that I'm a bit unique because most men that I grew up with in New York State prison, it took longer before they actually got it. That aha moment where they say enough is enough. I started immediately.
Good.
And although when I did go up, I got locked up in 1993. 1995 is when I got my GED. And that was when, after I received my GED, I began to work in the law library in the prison system. And I told myself, enough is enough. Instead of when they opened that gate, because the gates open for everybody when they call the yard or gym. And when they open, I close it right back and stay in the cell and get into myself. And
That's it.
so I took those necessary decisions, those
Yeah.
important decisions for me because I was tired of making the wrong decision. And
Yeah.
so I had to reach into myself and say, these are the right decisions. Don't be
Yeah.
a follower no more.
Yeah.
Don't be a follower of the negativity in your past. And
So
so you dictate your future. And that's
good.
what I did.
I love it. I love it. Listeners, listen, 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 Linda. Listen.
Linda.
Listen, Linda.
Absolutely.
What he just said, man. How many of you can say that your loved ones are doing the same thing? Right? How many
Absolutely.
of you they can say within 2 years I got my GED and I went on to further educate myself, just being in there being a knucklehead and not doing anything. So you see, it can be done.
And that's what we
Absolutely.
talk about re-entry. I'm sorry, Evie.
Go ahead.
Uh, this is what we talk a lot on our show. Re-entry. The the
Yeah,
When
system,
does it start?
the system has it so backwards, so confused, and we wonder why our brothers and sisters keep going back with the recidivism going so high. Is one re-entry, we truly believe, starts the minute the judge smacks that gravel down and gives you your sentence for you to serve.
mm-hmm.
That should be like your graduation light. You're moving now on to the next phase of your life. Either you get dumber or you get wiser. You can be like me and turn a 3 year sentence into 10 years. You can continue bumping your head until you say, you know what? Oh my God, what's that coming down my forehead? That's blood. I'm tired of hitting my head. Or you can say, you know what I was doing on the street don't work for me. Let me take advantage of what the system has to offer me, because now I have nothing but time. Let me go to school. Let me educate myself. Let me start surrounding myself with people who are having positive conversation instead of wasting my time in the yard talking about all these fantasy stories, how much money I was making in the street, what kind of car I was driving, how many women I cheated on, how many, all this negative stuff that brings you no value at all.
And let me say this, Anthony, and to speak to that and add on to that, we have, of course, the system in New York State that I can speak of. The system don't have a lot of programs, have a lot of things for us to rehabilitate ourselves. Oh, okay. However, what we did was in there, the men that I grew up with, and that grew up before me in there, we created our own programs. We created our own self-help therapeutic programs.
Talk about that, Eric.
Absolutely.
Tell us what that looked like. Tell us what that looked like.
What it looked like is, if you went to this prison called Clinton Correctional Facility, Clinton, it's up in the boondocks, called a place called Dannemora, New York. Plattsburgh, New York. It's way up north in New York State, and up there, there's, you don't see your color. You don't see Black Hispanic. You don't see minorities up there. That it's a family. The corrections, they are family up there. And they run that prison, and they don't want no programs in their prison.
Wow.
So and they serious about that. So what we did was, the few programs that they did have, we are commenced together, and we are going to these classes, and we'll help ourselves and educate ourselves, and and buy books, online, have our family send us books and bring them to the class. Business, somebody might know business more than the other. We had white brothers, black, white, people that came in that had their own businesses that were willing to come to our class and help us to educate us. And we also have a prison that's called Sing Sing Correctional Facility, Fishkill. These are more progressive prisons that have a lot more programs, college education, college programs. We have non-for-profit organizations that come into the prison. And so with men like myself and brothers I grew up with, we said, oh man, they don't have we have an organization called the Osborne Association, and they have parenting classes. But we don't have. Let's create a fatherhood and mentoring program for ourselves to be better fathers. Upon leaving out of here, to show our families, our loved ones, that there is room for change. Right. Even in a system that don't give us rehabilitation. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so that's what we done in there. We created.
Yeah, you created what you needed.
That's right.
And so that's the same thing that I did when I needed support to deal with this. I created what I needed because there was no support. And I'm telling, there was no support for the family members. So we getting ready to turn the curve. We've been talking about the families. How you guys' families doing?
My family is doing good. Me and my wife, it's still. But me and my wife are very two strong personalities. We have created and built an empire. Since I've been home, we both have very strong views. I'm proud of my wife. Like she's, it's very stressful what we do. Mm-hmm. As we spoke about before, we opened the doors in the state of Florida to mental health housing. We were the first ones to do it. and our business grew to just about 100 residents now. We're in 5 different counties. It's very stressful. It's a lot of work, very hands-on. Sometimes I get overwhelmed and stressed, and we'll argue and we'll go through stuff like that. She's been finding her passion and going back to the church and stuff like that. I mean, we get through a lot, but I won't sit here and lie and say that everything is peaches and cream, that everything is beautiful. But we've learned each other, when to give each other space, when to communicate, when to push, and when to give in. And I think it's about communication.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So let me say this. Okay, just talking to a couple of people this week, just this week. Sometimes even though they they go through the programs, they're so structured, and I'm just going to call it what it is. Some of them are so institutionalized. When they come home, they want to treat the house like it's the penitentiary.
Absolutely. I still do.
Yeah, man. I mean, some wives like, I gotta take a shower when he takes a shower. The lights got to go out at a certain time. I gotta eat what he eat, and this is the thing. And she don't feel like taking no shower right now. She may not even feel like taking the shower that night. But this is how he is. And my thing is, I tell the family, you can't let him just come in here and run the house like it's the penitentiary, because it's not. It's not. You have to say, I don't feel like taking no shower right now. I don't feel like going to bed at 9 o'clock. I mean, we can do it very respectfully. First time I'm gonna tell you, baby, I don't feel like taking a shower.
Well, if I could, speak on this too, and I say that my family, me and my family, we're doing beautiful. That's not without the bumps and bruises, and the talking, the arguments, the issues, that we have during our journey. At the end of the day, the negative, the positive is all beautiful for me, because I'm on this side and I'm able to adjust to my wife on this side. So when I think mine's is different. I'm used to waking up at 5 a.m, every morning, and I sleep with my wife. So when I wake up, it's like she wake up. So she hasn't got used to that yet. Like, why'd you up? Like, there's nothing. What are you doing? But 5 a.m, I've been able to clear my head, every day in there and in the system. And I think better. I've been able to do whatever I need to do for the day at 5 a.m. And so go ahead.
I'm sorry. Look, we got a few more minutes, and I got a whole lot of stuff to get out y'all head.
Yeah, absolutely.
So let me ask you this. So were you married on the inside? Did you meet your wives on the inside, or you knew them before? Tell me about this.
So I knew my wife since 1990, when I used to come up to this town and sell drugs, but we never got acquainted. We knew each other. We knew each other as friends, because her sister messed with a friend of mine's that was selling drugs with me. But me and my wife never got together. It wasn't until 2010 that me and my wife actually got together, and we've been together since 2010 in prison. While I was in prison, we married in 2012, and I came home in 2020.
You came home. Okay, so you came home 8 years after you guys got married. So what was that like, transitioning from prison? Now I'm in the household. I got a wife. She 24/7. She 365. How was that?
That was my gift and my curse. It was hell. It's like being in prison all over again. But you know what? I welcome that with open arms, because I know that when she does things, it's all out of love. Sometimes I could get upset because I feel closed in. I feel like I can't go nowhere without you. Where you going? However, I know it's all done out of love. I know that woman loves me, and that she been through, a lot with me in prison and me transitioning out here into society. That's where the PTSD comes in. I believe that everyone, I don't care who you are, or if you did time, I'm not gonna put a degree on time. 5 years, 2 years, 25 years, 30 years, you suffer from some type of PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder.
Yeah.
And and it's the way you handle it. Some of us actually get it and we understand what's going on with ourselves, and we take the necessary steps to getting ourselves right. Some of us, we don't get it, we miss the mark, and we get to arguing with our significant other, and forget that that person just did this much time with you, and she's there because she loved you,
Right.
and she's doing this out here because she loves you, not because she want to see you staying in the house. You know what I mean?
So
She will see you successful, but she also want to make sure that you spend time with family.
right.
So a lot of that, these are a lot of things that we argue about that's similar with all of us that been in the prison system. All of us men, I noticed in interviewing a lot of men and knowing a lot of men that's formerly incarcerated, we all have similar stories when it comes to our wives and us transitioning back out here into society. What were you gonna say?
So my guests want to know about therapy. Did any of you guys go to therapy?
Yeah, so I was looking at Missy's question now. So the question to the last person that yes went and asked no to that question to Valerie. As far as Missy, yes, some trauma therapy definitely has to go through some trauma therapy. Again, there's a lot of things that transpire through the trauma that Eric was just talking about. I'm a very strong believer in therapy, right? Because some of us, you know, we don't want to face a lot of things, but it hinders us from our growth, right? We start to believe that the lies that we created in our lives, you know, that men don't cry, or, you know, it's never my fault, it's everybody else's fault. We don't take the accountability. I truly believe, and I tell you all the time, I stand by therapy, because there are some things that we don't recognize that we need to speak out loud to someone who doesn't have judgment, that can just point out to us where it's hindering us from moving forward. So that was a good question. So yeah, I've done therapy. I've done trauma therapy, because again, I had to persuade myself that I wasn't Scarface.
You wore that mask for so long.
I had to learn to be Anthony. Even when I talk about this, you know, even when I was in prison, when I started to transition and starting to believe in who I am, I had to put positive affirmations in my cell and my sink over my little scratched up mirror.
I love it.
And I used to have a cellmate that used to always wake up, and you know, he had life, and he used to tell me, why do I have to wake up every morning and brush my teeth and look at these freaking words out here that I'm compassionate, that I'm smart, that I'm funny, that I'm loving, that he's like, yeah, I'm none of that stuff. And I go, I understand that, then it doesn't apply to you. I'm asking you to leave my stuff there alone.
Yeah.
Because this is who I'm trying to believe I am, because I don't want to be a killer. I don't want to be a monster. I don't want to be cold-hearted. I don't want to be all these things that keep getting me back here.
Yeah. You know what? That is so it. You got to do the work. And like you said, why do I have to say this? Why do I have to do this? This is the thing. In order to change, you're going to have to do some things you may not feel like doing. You have to say some things you may not feel like. That's how transformation takes place. And this is another thing. Family members, hear me out. See, we trying to wait till they come out before we start feeding them this. You can't wait till they get out this back gate and start saying, oh, baby, I need you to do your affirmations today. No, you better send them affirmations, not better, but you need to send them those affirmations now. And on my website, I have so many downloadable resources. All you have to do is download it, print it out, and send it out. Send it to them.
Right? Change come with our mindset. If we don't change our mindset on how we view ourselves, right? How do we expect to be who we're destined to really truly be, right? There's a question here by Kat. The biggest relationship adjustment for me was learning to sleep in a bed with another person. After sleeping on a twin size thin mattress for so many years, now to be in a bed and cuddle and feel somebody else's warmth.
Yeah.
That was the biggest adjustment for me, right? Because I'm not a very touchy feeling type of person, so that was a big adjustment for
And
me.
I think the biggest adjustment for me was us adjusting to being patient with each other. I've been home August 10th, 2020. We still struggle with it. However, we know that there's nobody else that's going to do it for us but us. So we acknowledge it. Sometimes we want to be in self-denial with each other because, like Anthony, my wife and I, we both strong-headed, independent, beings, and so we clash. However, like I said, and I always tell everybody, even all of anybody that I know or know of formerly incarcerated, and I know a lot of brothers that's home now and that's dealing, with the same similar, journey that I'm dealing with. And I always tell them, man, I deal with it. I don't care what it is, with a smile. My wife will tell you at the end of an argument, Eric has a smile. And I ask her to
Yeah,
smile.
you did me.
And I ask her to smile. Sometimes she don't. Sometimes it take 3 days. Sometimes, you know what I'm saying, take a couple of days. But at the end of the day, she realizes that and she appreciates that and say thank you for that, because a lot of times it's the patience. We don't have patience with each other.
Yeah, but and let me ask you guys this, man. We got it. We got it. We got. I done ran
You
over.
gotta have us on again.
Absolutely, absolutely. I tell you, we may have to make this a series. But
Yeah.
so this is the deal, guys. So some of these ladies that are in this on this live, some of them, their loved ones are still locked up. Some of them, their loved ones have came home and they are divorced now. Some of them are in the struggle. They're in the struggle right now with their loved ones. And like I said before, it's like the same behaviors, different household. So it's the same emotional, the psychological, the mental stress. Do guys, EB, you just said, you talk to a lot of guys that have come home and they in the same struggle. But do you guys really understand the emotional toll that it puts on us when we're trying to support someone, right? Just like we're needing patience from you, you guys need patience for us. This new to us.
Absolutely.
This is so new to us. But if you really understand I'm telling you,
and
wives and girlfriends, sometimes we want to talk to you guys or them or whomever. We don't know how, because we don't know what's going to set it off.
yeah.
Bingo.
Right?
You just hit it, Sheila. You just hit it. From my personal view, this is what I truly believe, because this is what I had to do to get to where I'm at. And this is just my experience, right? To that question with the woman that out there that's struggling with what they man or they loved one still incarcerated, just coming home. I truly believe conversation, open conversation. Let's stop trying to impress one another. Let's stop trying to say the things that we think that the other one wants to hear, right? Is to really sit down, even while they're incarcerated or when they come home, to actually be able to sit down with your loved one. And I think it's very important, it's detrimental that you do that and explain what the expectations are. How can we communicate? What is the view and what is the vision? Where are we trying to achieve and where are we trying to go together? If those things are not in alignment, right? It's okay, have that conversation. How can y'all get in alignment? And if it's non-compromisable, that my alignment is going to stay over here and yours is over there, it's okay to say, listen, no hard feelings. Don't drag down with you, right? I would always love you. I would care for you. But if I'm trying to go over here and you're trying to go over there and there's no meeting in the middle, why drag it out? And I think some people, for a lot of relationship, they feel because they've committed, that the girl did the time with them, or that they owe them, or the man feel, dang, I'll stay in here because she held me down, right? No, it's got to be more than that. It has to be something that y'all both want to be in alignment with, right? And if it's to live in a happy life and be in a business together, or work to support the family and have that dynamic, it has to be in line, because most people don't have that conversation.
Yeah.
They get the blitz of happiness of, oh, they home, let's go. Then all of a sudden it's like, I can't get that job, right? And it's like, yo, babe, you're home now. It's been 6 weeks now. The bills are getting heavy, right?
Yeah, that's right. And that's a struggle, if I could. And that's a struggle, right? Adjusting to that, to finding where y'all both at in life, and which y'all both are able to walk that same path together. You know what I mean? In terms of whatever it may be for y'all. Communication. Communication is very, very, very important. And I understand what you said, Sheila, and you're absolutely right that a lot of times we don't understand the women that did this time with us. And I have to say to anyone that's in prison and that comes home and that's in a relationship, go back to prison. Go back the right way now. Go visit someone and watch those, look at those steps that wife, that girlfriend, that mother yours walked with those packages in their hand. Walk up those steps, because that happened for me. I came home in 2020. In 2021, I went back to the same prison I was in, where I got my education, and I went to their graduation. I went to inspire other brothers that were still in there, that are still in there, looking to come home. And I walked the steps that my wife used to walk every weekend. And I literally broke down walking down those steps. Like, wow, she had to go through all of this with no help, and bringing those packages to me once a month.
35
Like,
pounds.
and it's amazing, and I found a found look, on life with our wives and our sisters and our mothers and our aunts, our women, that because most of the time in the prison where I came from, that 95% of women that's on the visit floor, and it might be 3% that's men. Wow. Need I say more? Because we have, we can't leave out the other gender,
Man, this is so good. This is so good. I mean, every time y'all say something, I can pull something else out of there. But we're closing. 5 minutes, 4 minutes. We close. I want to close with this.
We're not closing still. We taking over. We taking this over.
Man, look at here. So Anthony, you talked about communication, right? Let me tell you something. It's some brothers that come out here somewhat. When I say brothers, I'm talking about, what I'm talking about. But they don't know how to communicate, and their pride won't let them say, I don't know. I talked about that in my book. I have a chapter in my book called I Don't Know. Right? Yeah. And so we have to get them to the point where, okay, man, just have to accept the fact that you were away. You had somebody making decisions for you, so you didn't have to do a whole lot of communication. So my communication skills are lacking right now. So I don't know. Right.
Well, that's where learning the hard way come in. Some people got to learn the hard way, just like we had to learn to transition ourselves and to be better persons while we were in there, to come out here and be a better person. You're gonna have to, and I would dare to say therapy is definitely number one on the totem pole. To getting yourself together. Also, to go into these groups that a lot of men don't like to go to when they come home. Oh, I don't need that. I did that in prison. I don't need to go to AA. I don't need to go to anger management class. Yes, we do. Yeah. Yes, we do. Yeah. We need these things. You know what I mean? So it's very important. So I understand. I'm with you 1,000% on that.
And this is another thing that I'm working on. I'm gonna have to see how I can fit it in, because it was about 15 guys. They came from little different units around here in Texas. And so I had a support group for men. When they come out, y'all need a safe space where you can talk. You can say, man, I don't know how to do this. This chick want me to do this. I don't know how to do this. What can you help me? You needed a safe space. But during that time, me and Kevin was still trying to duke this thing out. So it became too much for me. So I backed out. And I said, Kevin, will you take over the group? And he said, I will take over the group. But the guys, they so used to Miss Sheila just nurturing them. And they like, Miss Sheila, if you ain't going to be in the group, we ain't going to be in the group. Okay. Well, But my thing is this: we need to create a safe space for these brothers coming out.
Absolutely, and that's really the key, right? But they got to want it too.
They got those who
want it. Like, and I tell people, like, listen, you ain't got to impress me. You ain't got to lie to me. Listen, at the end of the day, you got to look in the mirror with your own self and deal with whatever it is that your life is going about. Right. And if you ain't willing to take some accountability and responsibility and find the guidance and the tools that you need to be the better person that you are, you're going to be the same person you was. Listen, pardon me, I'm in recovery, right? I got over 10 years, of sobriety, haven't had a drink, no drugs, no nothing, don't even smoke cigarettes, right? And I used to do this men's meeting. We had created this men's meeting out here. And the men's meeting is because when you go to a co-ed meeting, that ego comes out. Guys want to talk and press and they're out. Yeah, I got clean. Now I'm driving a Mercedes Benz and I got the Rolexes and I got all this, right? And it's like, okay, is that recovery or that's ego, right? So we created this men's group where we can go in there and be vulnerable and cry. And I love that meeting because it was just all men, and we used to be able to sit there and open up on what's really going on without having that ego and having women looking at like, man, that's a tough guy, this, that, and the third. Get vulnerable. Sometimes to do that, you have to get uncomfortable to get to a comfortable feeling in life. And now we just don't want to do that and so we don't grow.
Yeah.
Growth comes from being uncomfortable.
You got to be uncomfortable with some things. You got to say some things you ain't willing to say, do some things, go to some, man.
I go through a lot of uncomfort, but it comes with growth and development. The only way to grow, a baby don't come out of his mama's stomach, already knowing how to go to the refrigerator or breastfeed or pump, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's another thing that I learned, I learned incarcerated is that, I begin to become an open book. And everybody that knows me knows that I'm an open book. I'm vulnerable to everything now.
Yeah.
Like I don't hold back anything in life, me. And so my journey has taken me to being able to embrace the negative and the positive. Anything that come my way. I embrace it and I crush it. As fast as the negativity comes in, my way, I crush it. That's out the way because I'm full positivity. And I think that's what a lot of people have to, for real. I think that's a part of your growth and development. You being able to, take that on and understand that, we're going to get a lot of negativity. We're going to get a lot of things that come to us. We got to take full accountability and responsibility for our lives. And that's just what it is.
Yeah. So the last few minutes, talk to us about Success After Lockdown. And why it was created.
So Success After Lockdown was actually created, as a platform for men and women that's formerly incarcerated home, as making a difference, doing something positive for their community, within their community and their lives, and their families. And it's bigger than a podcast. So we got a lot of big things that we're looking forward to with Success After Lockdown. One is definitely seeing us on the network soon, So, and we looking for any sponsors that can help us to bring in this message to Houston, to Utah, to Nebraska, everywhere, because there's a success in every state in this country, I believe, after lockdown. And we it's measured. This ain't just, we don't just talk about this, you successful, you rich. this is measured. Success is measured, and that's what we look at. And on our journey, we already been to Florida. We did our podcast in Florida. We look to do it in Atlanta next. We look to be in Houston. Another time we look to be in North Carolina, and we definitely want to stay connected to individuals like yourself and others that's formerly incarcerated, that's making a difference in their community and their state, because we want to travel, and tell our story and be able to get into the prisons and speak our truth.
So you must didn't get the memo or the email that y'all stuck with me.
Absolutely, we got it. That's what I'm talking like.
You got that email? Okay. I just want to make sure you got the email. But anyway, guys, from the comments in the feed, the audience have enjoyed this live, and we're definitely gonna have to do it again. And we're gonna have to get something where we can collaborate to do something again, where we can get couples in a group together. We can have a live with just couples. If we can, we need to do that, because the thing again is exposure. It's exposure. Once we get exposed to certain things, we can't unexpose it. So, and if we truly want to help people to succeed, not on the outside, but from within too, we have to be willing to have conversations as such. We have to be willing to talk not only about the success, but also the struggle, right? Absolutely. We have to be able to pull some stuff back. I love you, brothers. I appreciate you, brothers. Thank you so much. When I ask you to come, just let me know when. And we're gonna have this conversation again.
Absolutely. Sheila, again, it's always a pleasure having you, hearing your voice, your inspiration, your motivation, what you do. You don't have to do it, but you are the voice for all those lost voices who stand there with their thoughts at night and wondering, how am I going to pull this together? How am I going to figure it out? So kudos to you. That's amazing. You are a pillar for those women that we don't understand, because that we took for granted. So continue to do that. I know my wife will be excited to meet you. And it's always an honor and a privilege. And you can reach me anytime. I'm available. We'll make it happen.
Good. Hey,
go ahead.
Hold on, from Eric. I just want Mark to drop you guys' handle, Facebook page or whatever in the feed, so you guys who are on the live, y'all follow these brothers. Follow Success After Lockdown. I've been looking at them. They're doing some amazing things. Just follow them on IG, on YouTube,
TikTok, Anchor, Spotify, YouTube. We're on all social media. My personal social media is also Anthony Cologne 1188. The same thing as my Facebook. Follow us, subscribe. If you know someone that's been where we've been at and making an impact in their community and coming home, please send us an email at successafterlockdown@gmail.com. We'd love to interview them and talk about them.
Okay.
Absolutely. And if I could just want to right now, I'm over in my head is in another space right now, looking, because I don't know if my producer put it up or not, but we actually we are on another platform called Patreon. I don't know how much your followers heard about Patreon, but on Patreon is where we will be, where our content will be. Our full interviews for Success After Lockdown will be on Patreon, where our followers and friends and those that want to support us can support us and help us. And we have membership on Patreon as well. For as little as $5 a member, to get full access and full, disclosure of our full interviews that's coming out. And they'll see that soon on our platform at successafterlockdown@gmail.com. And like Anthony said, we are currently on Apple Music, Anchor, all the other platforms. That's IG, Instagram, TikTok. I always push TikTok because I stay on TikTok. When my daughter's she plays for her basketball team. She's 12, and I'm always showcasing her TikTok.
Yeah, y'all hit the ground running because I just put up a YouTube and I ain't did nothing with it. I just put it out there. I was like, yeah, okay, I'm over on YouTube, but I ain't did nothing with YouTube. But again, guys, thank you so much. I'll definitely be in touch thinking about some things that we can do. Thank you for your support. Yeah, thank you for your support. So
you inspired me. Sorry to cut you off. There go Thug's Revenge and Wife After Prison. You and Anthony.
That's my book. That's my book.
Anthony, you made that. Oh, okay.
And mine's is coming now. Because y'all inspired me to write mines now.
Yes. Oh wow! So are yours on Amazon?
It was. That's another story. But if you want a book and a copy, just get at me. I'll send you a copy.
Okay, and my followers, we need to know how to get that. But
and Mark is working on that. He is about to.
Yeah.
He's
Mark
about to
is working on that. But yeah, anybody can just reach me through Facebook, on Instagram, or whatever. I got plenty of copies here. So yeah.
Yeah, guys. Okay, we gotta go, but we need to do some things together.
Absolutely.
We're here. Let's do it.
Okay.
Let's do it. Okay. Thank you, everybody. Have a great weekend. Happy Saturday, and let's go 49ers.
Oh, okay.
Whoa. KC. Let's go KC.
All right, guys.
Let's go.
I'll talk to y'all
Sunday.
I'll get you the copy. I'll get you the copy of this, okay?
Absolutely. Thank you again.
All right. Love you guys.
You.
Okay. All right.
Yes.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.